what do you think people like myself included, what is it that we need to recognize? What is it that we need to do as we enter into a justice-oriented Christianity? Keli, I'll let you talk about this.
We've talked about this before, but so we're in a time right now where, saying Black Lives Matter is like a cool thing to do. And, even from my perspective, it feels different and bigger, and people are, more involved, and it's just really suspicious. And, I've spoken to a few people about it who, share feelings that, it feels like we're being gaslighted because we've been talking about this for centuries and nothing's happened. And, the murder of George Floyd was a lot like the murder of Eric Garner, was a lot like the murder of Emmett Till. And, Black people have been being publicly executed in this country since the country started. And I think white people need to answer the question of why now? Because as a Black person, it is very unsettling because I'm like, what's different? Nothing's changed as far as I'm concerned. So I don't get it. And I think what needs to be understood is that, this is a centuries-long fight, and we are still at the beginning of it. This week I spoke with Jal Karandi, who's amazing and worked on getting University of Minnesota to cut ties with police. But she spoke about how, in the Declaration of Independence, we have these truths that are self-evident. It's like, these like immutable rights. And it is the protection of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And Black people are we're stuck at life. We're still fighting for life. And there's a lot of trauma and hurt and frustration. And I think, for white people joining in now to say Black Lives Matter, I think you need to understand the history of that and learn first and take it in first before you speak. And I think that's important. And just understanding the breadth and just how long this fight has been going on, and, really reckon with why it is now that, you're comfortable speaking to it.
Thank you so much for saying that. I know for me, we talk a lot about reconciliation in this work, and I don't think we can have reconciliation at all until we do the work of recognizing, and until we do the work of repenting, and until we do the work of repairing. I think and I'm speaking for myself and other white folks right now, I think we skip some really important justice steps, especially when we center Black lives, by jumping right to reconciliation without first recognizing the harm that we've caused and repenting of the harm that we caused and repairing the harm that we've caused. And I think, speaking specifically towards people like myself, we can't move forward in justice work in Christianity until we recognize and repent first. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate that word. It's an important word for us. Denia, I know you have a couple thoughts surrounding some of this as well. Would you like to jump in?
Sure. I just want to echo what Keli has said. I think there's a little bit of suspicion. And I think for even non-Black folks of color, I think it's really important for us to also sit down with ourselves and our communities and recognize the anti-Blackness that permeates within our communities, and try to sit with the responsibility of our complicity in a lot of the ways that our Black community has been marginalized and oppressed and executed. I think that it's really important for non-Black folks, no matter where you are, and no matter who your community is, to really have these conversations and these reflections, and then most importantly, to then act on that. And I think something really important that Keli said is that, the work is just beginning, and that people have been sounding the alarm for generations. And I think I saw this on Twitter. A lot of us have been hitting snooze. The alarm has been going off, but people have just been hitting snooze. And so it's a matter of, yes, taking action, yes, having these conversations and reflections, but really understanding that we need to follow. As non-Black people, we need to be grateful and appreciative that Black folks have been doing this work, that have set out this blueprint for so many other social justice movements. Like, as an undocumented immigrant, I'm so grateful for the Black folks in this country who have been putting their lives on the line and have been challenging the status quo since the country began, because it laid a foundation for the immigrants' rights movement. It laid a foundation for the queer liberation movement. It laid a foundation for the women's movement. And, you know, there are also like Black queer immigrants, you know, there's intersectionality. And I think, again, for non-Black folks who have all of these other intersecting identities, I think it's important for us to follow as well, to take stock of what we haven't done and why we haven't done it, and then act in opposition to what we haven't done, and really to be humbled and take the lead, to be led by Black folks who have been doing this a lot longer, and to know that, like, we're here to support. We're late. We're sorry we're late to the party, but like, how can we be helpful? And to just know that it's going to be a long journey, and that we need to be humble and patient and helpful.
Yeah, I think I really appreciate what you said right there, where, hey, we recognize that we got this wrong. And now we get the chance to first off apologize, and to recognize the goodness that has come from activism, especially activism from our Black and brown siblings, who have, like you said, paved the way for so many others of us who are going through the same, or others who are going through the same struggle.